So we took a little bit of a break because I believe the Pomeranian was being feisty. And I was mentioning that I sometimes have, doing all this traveling, I have some sinus issues. I get to a new place, I'm like, oh, what am I going to be allergic to next? And and it's pretty damp here.
Yes.
Yeah, and with your roof issue and all that, I'm so glad that you're taking care of it now because you just moved in, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing that you moved in with a place that has issues.
Yeah. The good stuff about like negotiating price and all that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Are you a good negotiator?
No, my real estate agent was,
Okay.
though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you can have a real estate agent do that for you.
Yeah, because I was pretty ignorant to this entire process.
Yeah.
Because like first time home buyer, I ended up getting.
Oh, you bought it.
Yes.
Oh, put it there.
Thank
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
I was living in the same apartment roughly 8 or 9 years, something like that. But I guess with the way the housing market is, my landlord sold the property and I had to skedaddle. He gave me like 2 months.
Oh.
And I was like, damn. So
it's being sold out from under you.
Yeah. So I had to get out of there and quickly find a place. And rent was just, like all places, have reached exorbitant prices.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost easier to buy a place sometimes.
So, because I've had like an established 401k that's followed me since I started.
Great.
So I thankfully have
Are
that.
you like unionized or something?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just had this 401k.
Okay.
But if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have been able to buy this place. So I'm like very grateful that I had that opportunity.
Yeah. Well, you worked for it, so there you go. You made your luck.
Yeah.
I'm bringing this up partly because I want you to talk about your stove over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
you guys can see it back there. Yeah.
I just got it cleaned recently.
Oh.
Because I think that's what you're supposed to do when you have
Yes.
things like that.
Yeah, because I guess creosote or something.
Yeah, especially with the coal. It hasn't been super cold here yet, but I turned it on anyway just to see what it was like.
Yeah.
Fantastic heat source.
Oh, awesome.
I'm like,
and with the loft too, it's
because
gonna warm up the whole place. Yeah.
I have like that's pretty much like another living room sort of. So I kind of hang out in there, and all the heat rises and.
Yeah.
It gets pretty cold here in the middle of winter,
Yeah.
like deep negatives sometimes. So
like -20, -30.
yeah, like especially with like the wind chill. Like the coldest I've seen, it was like -45.
Okay, and that was that absolute or with the temp?
That was with the wind chill.
Okay, yeah.
And that was cold enough for me. So
Yeah, in Fairbanks where I was living, which is not the coldest part of Alaska. There's actually much colder parts, like up by Fort Yukon. It's much colder. But Fairbanks gets pretty cold, and it would get that absolute temperature.
Damn.
Like -40, -50. I've definitely been out in that, trying to put fuel into my oil tank so that I can have a heater.
Oh, God.
Oh, yes. And ice is growing up my windows, and you can hear things popping, and I'm worried that, like, my canned food is going to, distend. And, yeah, it's very worrying.
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And I had something called a Toyo, which is a very popular oil burning heater. What is yours? Is like an antique or something?
I want to say it's probably very old.
Yeah.
I don't know if the name brand.
Sure.
But this house was built in 1988, and that's been there since 1988.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And then you said it burns coal.
Burns coal.
I've never heard about that before.
It was definitely new to me too,
Yeah.
because speaking to the old homeowner, he was like, "Yeah, it burns coal and all this stuff." I was
Do
like,
you have like a bin that feeds into it?
"Actually, you see that wood thing that was outside?
No, but I'll look for it.
It's it holds all the coal.
Okay.
Pretty much, I had that bucket there for like.
Do you load it, or does somebody come by?
I had a ton of coal delivered.
Okay.
And I kind of just shoveled it in myself.
Oh.
Yeah, that was.
Wow.
Was not anticipating having to do that, but
Wow.
I'm hoping that should last me for the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's super efficient. It's supposed to be clean burning and all this stuff.
Yeah, probably anthracite, which is
Yes.
a very clean coal. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, if you're gonna call coal clean,
Right.
versus bitumite, which doesn't burn as efficiently. Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't think of coal as being clean. By the way,
Right.
that's propaganda that's popping out of my mouth, and I'm an environmentalist. That's the power of propaganda. Anyway, I have a lot to say about that, but I'm going to hold back for the moment. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So it sounds like once you get your roof in, you're going to have to really turn that up,
Yeah.
to drive out some of the damp and stuff. I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty comfortable right now, but
I know that they replaced pretty much all the plywood got replaced up there because it was all damp and
Yeah.
all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's supposed to rain tomorrow morning, and I'm hoping that it doesn't, so they can just finish and that'll be it.
Yes. Right. Oh, that's just what you need is some wet. And then if it gets cold, then you'll have ice and you'll have problems all year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so not fun.
Oh my goodness. Oh. Well, I'm glad that you got a good deal on the place and, you had somebody who was watching out for you and making a good deal for you.
Yeah.
I'm astounded that you own it. Because, this is like, you come in through the road and it says country club, something like that. And I thought, oh, it's going to be so fancy. It's not fancy out there.
It's not.
No, it's pretty worn in, actually. There's a lot of older people out here, too. They've probably
Yes.
been here for decades.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
But it's still really nice. I would really love to live here, frankly. It's pretty cool out here.
And looking, so in the places I lived before,
Yeah.
especially in New York, don't talk to your neighbors. Like, that's just not something that's done. However, exact opposite here. People wave to you and say hi.
Yes.
And my neighbors across the street are just like that.
Yeah.
And they both...
People were like that with me in the park.
Yeah, people-
Like, it was almost like I was wanting more privacy than they were giving me,
Right.
I was like, okay, yeah, I'm from Alaska. Yeah. I'm glad you noticed my plates. Oh, my God.
Yeah, wait. I would say maybe perhaps too friendly, but...
No, but erring on that side is better than the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the only country club aspect of this place is there's like a golf course.
Oh, a golf course.
Yeah, but,
I can't imagine the golf course around here.
It's
It would
strange.
require so much maintenance.
Yes.
All these trees and all the leaves and stuff.
So the way that this community is divided, there's the side that I live on, and then there's another side to it. I don't know if maybe
Is that like the nicer side?
yes, because there's barely any trees over there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
That's where the golf course is.
Okay. All right. That's where the actual country club is.
Yeah.
I brought this up before, but this kind of reminds me of like Dirty Dancing or whatever.
Yeah, I could see that.
This is where the workers live. And yeah. So you do work. You still work as a butcher.
Yes.
Yeah. What's I was wondering because a lot of people in the queer community like there's this thing about like not eating meat or whatever. I eat meat. I grew up with hunting people who hunted and fished for subsistence. Lifestyle. Do you ever get some funny looks about that or online?
Yeah, I do get some judgment for
Yeah.
it, even though I'm a vegetarian
Yeah.
myself.
Oh, interesting. You're a
Yeah.
vegetarian.
Yeah,
Okay.
especially dealing with, I was working in a processing facility, very short.
Oh,
amount
a
of
big
time,
one.
and that was awful.
Yeah.
So that is not for everyone.
Are you more like grocery store level or?
Right now, I'm grocery store
Okay,
level. I've worked in small butcher shops.
Yeah.
I worked on.
Those are great.
Yes, I learned a lot.
That's how you do with the hunters.
Yes,
Yes.
That's where I learned a lot of the craft side
Yes.
of it, and really
Right.
learning like disarticulating and making things
And custom orders. And, right.
especially with it being deer season. I can know how to make good deer jerky, good venison jerky, all that good stuff. I don't eat
You're
any
my
of it.
new best friend.
But now I work just at a shop, right?
Okay.
Which is fine because
Yeah.
it pays the bills and
Stable.
it's totally
Yep.
stable.
Not
Yeah.
seasonal.
Yes.
Yes.
That's not
I know
fun.
about that.
Yeah, no. There was a point where I was working like 2 or 3 part-time butcher jobs, and that sucked because one of them was like cash only. I would get paid. Yeah, so I would get paid like $100 a day for working like a lot, and then that would be it. But I was like young and just started out.
So it was like on call or whatever.
Yeah.
Whenever somebody had something come in.
Like pretty much from like November to the beginning of January.
Wow.
Was like when I worked, and
Wow.
that was it.
Is that the big hunting season around here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Which like, makes sense. Like a lot of bear was a big one. Bear is probably the worst thing to cut because it's
Yeah.
super loose. It's like cutting through glue.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't look too appetizing either.
I've seen bear carcasses that don't have the fur either, and they look very human.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's strange.
Yes.
That's why I like working in a supermarket though, because it comes in a box.
Right.
And
It's just a side rather than the whole animal.
yeah,
Yeah.
it makes me feel better at least.
And you don't have to deal with probably like gut shot or weird placement of shots or something.
Yeah, or like just gross things like the innards and all that nasty stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Did that kind of push you towards being vegetarian?
Yeah, that was a big part of it.
Okay.
Because I guess like ethically, I really can't say that I'm anti-meat because I profit off of it completely.
Sure.
But for mostly health reasons, and I just can't stomach it anymore. Like I just can't.
You do drink milk though, and eat cheese and that sort
Yeah,
of.
so I'm not vegan.
Yeah.
I do enjoy cheese, especially cheese.
Me too. Like I said, I'm a cheesemaker. I haven't done it for a while, but I do love it. What kind of cheese do you like, by the way?
I like a good sharp cheddar.
Oh, classic. Classic. Have you ever had like a Stilton? It's like
No.
It's like kind of like a cheddar, but there's the blue mold in it.
Oh, okay. No,
Yeah, it's British. It's very British.
Interesting.
Yeah. Try it sometime. Yeah, I like all kinds of cheeses. It gets me into trouble because, like, if I just have $10 left, I'll spend it on fucking cheese. Like a fancy fucking cheese. I tried to do that up in Alaska. I was like, oh, I really just want a good cheese, like from California or something, like something that is, the artisan style or whatever, from the bigger makers, like Cowgirl Creamery or something like that. And I got some, and I was so disappointed because it was ammoniated because it's Alaska, and nobody buys it, so there's no turnover. And it was like, oh,
Oh God.
where am I living? I can't even get good cheese. Yeah. Anyway, so is there anything happening here in Pennsylvania that you are concerned about as a trans person? Let's get serious here for a moment.
I guess with like the midterms coming up.
What do you think about Fetterman, Oz? That
so
shitstorm or whatever that
awful. Oz is awful. Like
He really is.
I cannot.
He's a putz.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a pacifist, but I want to punch him in the face. Not really. I'm not going to do that. I mean, I'm 5'2", and I have nothing to do with him. But he's just like, who would ever trust him? Look at his face. Look at that guy's face.
It's terrible, but I don't know. One of his stances is protecting girls in sports.
Oh, no.
And we all know
Protecting
what that
girls,
means.
no.
Yeah, protecting girls from the awful trans women.
Yes.
And it disgusts me that
Yeah.
a lot of people agree with it.
Yeah.
As if, like, a trans girl who just wants to play soccer
Yes.
cares about beating the crap out of the other girls.
Right.
Like,
And we're talking about children here.
yes, exactly. Like, it's not... It's awful, and
he's a doctor, and
Yeah.
he knows better.
And he doesn't even live in Pennsylvania. He lives
Yeah.
in New Jersey.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing.
And I just don't get it.
Yeah. How did he ever become the nominee? I mean, who else was running that was so awful that
I'm
he
not
got
sure.
the job?
No idea, but I know that they're because it's quite conservative around here. So, a lot of people agree with him, like,
Yeah.
and all that. And where John Fetterman, they believe, he wants to let all the criminals out of jail, which
Yeah.
is not true. Like,
Yeah.
he wants to give people the chance who have, like, bullshit marijuana convictions out of jail.
Right.
Like, where...
And deal with people who have a criminal past compassionately.
Right.
Because people make mistakes in their lives.
Yes.
And it's often poor people who pay the price. Rich people are criminals too.
Yeah.
But they hardly ever pay the price,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that whole debate of punishment or
Yes.
that other word I can't think of. Rehabilitation.
Yeah.
And like, it's terrible, but
Right. Well, I think people can really connect with Fetterman. I mean, he's like a regular dude.
yes,
You know,
that's
and-
what he seems like.
And people also make fun of him for that, which is interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what he was at exactly, but he was wearing like basketball shorts and a hoodie, and people were like giving him crap for it. Like, why are you not dressed better?
And look at us.
Yeah.
We're wearing hoodies. I'm wearing tennis shoes. You're wearing clogs or something.
Yeah, it's just, if anything, that's the guy I want to vote for. Someone who seems like everyone else around here.
Right. Not phony Dr. Oz.
Yeah.
He's such a phony. Anyway, everything he does too is interesting. Like, there was this online thing about him making fun of Fetterman, but everything he was doing was making Fetterman seem cooler.
Yes.
What do your neighbors think about this? I'm sure you hear some stuff.
I don't hear things from my neighbors. I hear things from my coworkers.
Okay, yeah.
And I have to kind of play both sides of the field and kind of like agree with them just to not create tension. Sure. But holy moly.
Right, you all are handling knives and stuff. Anyway.
But I wouldn't say they're Trumpers, because they don't really talk about that.
Sure.
But they're very conservative. And they're still, I went to, I think it was a Mount Pocono or Pocono Summit, but I saw several Trump 2024 flags, as if that's a thing that can happen.
Yeah, I saw driving over here, not specifically here to this area, but, in this region, a lot of those "Let's Go Brandon" stickers on people's
cars.
Yeah,
it's embarrassing.
It really is embarrassing, because, that basically means, like, fuck Biden or something like that. Like, why would you put that on your vehicle? Like I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's so stupid. It's like, it's so juvenile. It's juvenile. There's something not social, not civil about it.
Right. It's like, it's politics. It's not a sports team. Like, you don't have to advertise your likes and dislikes on your car.
Yeah. Yeah. I have seen super souped up trucks, though, that were like flashing lights and two flags, two big flags on them, and like tons of bumper stickers. And then somebody my size will jump out of the lifted vehicle. And I'm like, okie dokie.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Yeah, this one guy I think it was a Costco parking lot. Who knows why he was there, but he like glared at me because he noticed that I was reading his stickers. He was like,
oh, God.
Okay. We're going to fight or something, I guess. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, kind of weird. So you don't really talk politics with your neighbors. That's probably a blessing.
Yeah, keep it real surface level.
Yeah.
Like, hey, how are you? That's it.
Yeah. But you do have to deal with an HOA out here, and I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah, it's like good and bad.
Yeah.
Good.
What's the good part?
They take care of the roads in the wintertime.
Okay.
So
I did see a sign about that. Like, there was something down here with like gravel, and there was a sign that says, "This is not a free service" or something. I was like,
yeah.
What?
So if, for
What is
instance, if I wanted to throw out furniture or something, I have to pay $25 to load up my car and just dump it.
You guys have your own dump out here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Which, like, especially with the bears and things like that, I don't leave any garbage outside.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you passed by it, but there's like a blue dumpster. That's pretty much where all the like household garbage will go.
Is it like one of those ones that you'd see at a construction site, like one of those real long
Kind of.
ones?
It's like
kind of like a truck.
It's more like a compactor.
Okay.
And there's a door on the side.
Okay.
So you kind of just pop your garbage in there.
Yeah, I did hear that there were quite a few black bears up here.
Yes, that's. I don't know exactly what their hibernation seasons are like. For sure, but I know now they're very active.
Yes, it's because they're trying to put on as much fat as possible before they go to sleep. Yeah, for the winter. Yeah. So this is the worst time, actually. Yeah. Because when they wake up in spring, they're kind of tired because they're kind of weak, or whatever. But yeah, they're still hungry and they're after food. But right now, they're like anything I can get. Yeah. And black bears in particular, I've heard, are stalkers as well. So they're really smart. They will go after things,
Right.
Yeah. Whereas other bears will kind of hang back and be like, no, I'm not going to go there. Too many people. The town I grew up in Alaska, Kotzebue, Alaska, that's where I went to grade school. We did have bears that would visit our town dump.
Huh.
Yeah. And we were in the polar bear zone, so I think that they were polar bears.
Oh, God.
So it was just, the local bears.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The ocean froze there. Yeah.
Wow, that's
So-
that's pretty cold.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a long winter. Yeah, it's a long winter. Yeah, it's... Do you have 4 seasons here?
Yes.
Okay.
So I would say now is unseasonably warm.
Yeah, it is.
It is not usually this warm. It's sometimes we'll see the first snowfall in October. The fact that it was
Because
like,
you're at fairly high elevation. Lots of moisture here. Yeah.
the fact that it was like 70 yesterday was
Yeah.
like shocking.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like perfect for me yesterday.
Yeah.
No bugs, just in my, whatever's, no need for a coat. And I was like, oh, this is like paradise.
Yes.
And the golden leaves everywhere. Oh,
I do love that
Yeah.
part of around here.
Yeah.
But it like when winter does start, it doesn't let up until like March or April.
sure. Sure.
It's around here, so
Sure.
it makes sense.
How do you clear roads around here?
They plow.
Okay.
Actually, the guy that lives across the street is the plow driver
Okay,
for the
great.
community. So
Great.
that's pretty cool.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Alaska, it was like kind of free for all. You had to take care of your own stuff. And yeah, I wasn't really prepared for that. And my landlord is kind of lives half the year in Texas. So I was like,
Oh God.
yeah, luckily I had a cool neighbor, Yeah, but sometimes I was stuck out. And my driveway was really long. I did try to hand shovel it once.
No.
Oh, I have never worked myself to exhaustion, like complete exhaustion. I did then, and it took me, like several days, and still, even with that, I don't think I could have gotten my vehicle down it. But a lady and her children were walking by at some point, and they saw my shovels in the snow, and they were like, "We have to help our neighbor." I had tried to hire people; it was impossible.
Wow.
Because we just had historic snows, Yeah. Yeah, the things that are happening in Alaska are kind of not so good.
Damn.
Have you seen any climate change things up here? Effects?
I would say how warm it is now.
Yeah.
Like it was, and even last month, it was like in
Yeah.
the 80s one day.
The older people I was talking to yesterday were mentioning that.
Yeah, and that's very strange.
Yeah.
Like it's not a good thing at all.
Right.
People like complain about winter, but I'll take winter over climate change any day.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Who knows what's going to happen? I mean, there can be all kinds of... I mean, what does warm weather do like to the wildlife around here? It probably confuses the bears.
Yeah,
I would think.
it. I think it also affects the deer as far as where they forage. Because like there's obviously tons of deer
Yeah.
around here. Like if anything,
I noticed the little gardens were there was like Fort Knox around each one.
yes, they'll eat
Like
anything.
spiky fence looking things just for like a little tiny plot. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, no. If you want to grow tomatoes, you got to protect them because the deer will eat them.
I noticed too, but people didn't have like greenhouses here.
No, like I'm not the
Yeah.
only greenhouse I've only seen one greenhouse,
Yeah.
and it was in the Stroudsburg area.
Okay.
And I think because they
That's
were
so strange.
Yeah, like I don't get it.
Yeah.
you would think around here, but I do get a lot of sunlight. But directly inside the house on the property, not so much.
Oh,
It is
okay.
pretty like especially when it's summertime and all the leaves are still in. It's very shaded.
Okay.
So I don't know how a greenhouse would do in an area like this.
Yeah, that's what I was appreciating about yesterday because not only was it somewhat warm or whatever, and the leaves have turned colors. Most of them have already fallen. But the reason why it was so beautiful is because the sunlight was streaming right through because there's hardly any leaves.
Yeah.
And so that the leaves that were there were just like blazing. Oh, it was incredible. Driving around, I was like, oh, I should take a film of this. But then I was like, oh, taking a film of it just ruins it. Just enjoy it. Yeah. So I'm actually envious. That you're living here. I want to live here.
Yeah, this is like my it's close as I can get to my dream home.
Yes.
Like this.
No, this is.
Yeah.
This is. I mean, and it has so much potential too. I mean, people say that euphemistically or whatever. But this place does really have great bones. You can do a lot with this place.
Yeah, I'm excited for the future. And
Yeah.
especially when I first first moved in, I was like, wow, this is it. I'm actually excited to be somewhere.
Do you feel like you're home?
Yes. Because a lot of times home to me was associated with one particular person or persons.
Oh, yes.
And
relationships.
yes. And then once I separate,
That's dangerous.
yes, not I get attached very easily. It's kind of a problem. But especially when I split with my ex-wife and I lost that home feeling, I didn't think I was going to find it again.
Oh, you were married.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I was married we were together for like,
Were you gay married?
yes.
Okay. So you went through like a ceremony that.
We got married in New York.
Okay.
In 2017.
Okay.
So we weren't not married that long, but we were together since maybe 2009 or so. We met
Quite a while.
Yeah, we met in New York.
Yeah.
And then
Quite a while for a relatively young person.
Yeah, like it felt like a lifetime.
Yeah.
And after that split happened, I was like, oh, I feel very lost. Like I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I can't change who I am. I can't change who she is. And she heavily identifies as a lesbian. And once I had talked about transitioning, that was kind of the first nail in the coffin.
Really? So
Yeah.
it just kind of cascaded after that. Like
Yeah,
that was a break, and then everything after that was like, oh, that too.
Yeah. It just, she was supportive. She's never misgendered me or anything like that, but she lost her attraction to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is deep. That's awful.
Yeah, it was definitely hurt
Yeah.
a lot.
I would imagine that would hurt for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say I'm like still not over it completely.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to date.
How do you get over that?
One day at a time.
Okay.
I'm kind of just trying to focus on myself right now.
Right.
And I'm hoping that if I work on myself enough, I can kind of maybe find someone else who will like me just for who I am.
Yeah. And who will like your little cabin and you're being fabulous instead of whatever, like cisgendered straight guy or whatever.
Yeah, like not that I don't really wear women's clothes, but I would wear maybe like feminine male clothes.
Sure,
if that
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that doesn't really fly with some people. Like I don't know why, but just
but the metrosexual thing has been around for a while.
Yeah.
And, glam, whatever's even older, and I mean it's not like it's a new thing. Yeah. Straight men are often feminine as well. I mean,
it's a thing.
yeah, it's a thing. I mean, I'm not the most masculine guy or whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
Sometimes, actually, who gives me the most crap, unfortunately, is trans women.
Really?
Yeah, they are so maybe, and I'm not trying to make a blanket statement here, but this is specific individuals. Maybe for them, they had to watch their mannerisms so closely to pass.
Right.
That they also impose that on other people. But I've always felt somewhat more relaxed about my transition. Maybe that's a privilege of being FTM versus MTF.
Yes.
But I found so much freedom being a trans person rather than suppressing myself. And before transitioning, I never smiled. I would force myself not to smile. And now I'm kind of a goofball,
Right.
So yeah. So it's interesting sometimes coming across other trans people who police other people's behavior or their bodies or identities. It happens. It still happens.
If I ever get clocked, it's only by another trans person.
Yeah. How does that feel?
I feel very seen, very vulnerable.
Yeah. Seen in a bad way.
Yes.
Yes.
I live a primarily stealth life. And I don't, not that I'm, sometimes when I say that I'm stealth, people think I'm trying to hide my transness. And I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be a guy. I'm just trying to be an average person.
Yeah. And it's not like it has to be the forefront of every conversation.
Yes, it's like...
It's none of people's business.
Yeah. But I'll get clocked because I gesture a lot. And apparently that's a feminine thing.
Is that by queer people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I would say no, presumably cis person has ever clocked me.
Yeah.
Because I went from not passing at all to completely passing in
Yes.
a very short period of
Yes.
time.
I can see that.
And that,
Part of that, I think, is you do have those strong eyebrows and stuff, and with darker hair, it looks more prominent.
because I always had like a little mustache.
Yeah,
So
cool.
like I just let it grow.
Cool.
I stopped tweezing my eyebrows and let them grow, and that was it. It was,
Yeah.
I would say I started passing consistently like 6 months on T.
Yeah,
And
great.
That was definitely a privilege
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, yeah. But also, other people don't need to intrude on your privacy.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if I tell people I'm trans, it's because I really trust you and it's something I
Yeah.
feel like I want you to know about me.
Yeah,
Not,
or there's a reason behind it.
yes, I'm
Yeah.
like disclosing for like a relationship issue.
Yeah. For me, it's, if I'm trying to make a political point that has to do with trans people, or I'm talking about this project that I'm doing or something like that, so I will tell people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Now, this is a little bit of a tricky question, and I hope it's okay that I'm asking it, and part of it is coming from the place where I have come from. So I went to Harvard Divinity School for a couple of years, and it was very difficult for me. And then I moved back up to Alaska, and it was such a blessing for me to find an isolated cabin, pretty isolated, and to just like live by myself and feel free that way. That's how I felt free, without a lot of clutter, without a lot of expectations and that sort of thing. I was wondering if you did that for yourself coming here, that sort of thing, in terms of your own mental health.
Yeah, freedom is definitely a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Being able to come home and I can just be me. I don't have to worry about anything. Like that is a tricky question.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess I'm still trying to figure out.
Because you can also do that in the city.
Yes. I would say it might be easier in the city because there's so much going on that anyone can really blend in.
Right. There's anonymity. Yeah. And people don't remember you, or you're just another guy or something like that. But it's a pretty big move to come to kind of a pretty rural area on top of a mountain and live in a cabin, even though you do have some close neighbors. But beyond that, there's not much.
No, and even my close friend circle
Yeah.
doesn't exist in this area.
Yeah.
Like they're
well,
all,
you're talking about New York City.
Yeah,
And
and
Erie, Pennsylvania. Yeah.
So I do like a lot of like FaceTiming.
Oh,
just to kind of reignite that social need that I
Sure.
sometimes have.
Sure.
But my focus like this winter is just to not focus on other people.
Right.
I want to focus just on me.
Right. Right. And you've done a lot of relationships where you've focused on other people, it sounds like.
Yeah, because I, especially like being in relationships, I lose myself in them, and I'm avoiding relationships like that completely right now.
Are you doing any kind of, I know you're doing therapy, right? Are you doing spiritual exploration of what that's about for you, or healing, or like a lot of book reading or poetry or art? You said you're an artist?
So I lost my religion once I left New York the first time. The Catholic Church is big on fear. Do this or else.
Right, right.
And it was hard for me to find spirituality in anything else because all I can think of is the Catholic Church. Trying to believe in something is where I'm at right now. Because I'm having issues believing in anything. And I don't want to be that person. I want to believe that there is something bigger out there than me.
Are you looking for a religious community, or are you looking for something more cosmic?
And more cosmic.
So a cosmic connection.
Yeah, I'm probably going to avoid organized religion for a while.
There's different levels of that, though.
Right.
You know? I mean, there's Roman Catholic, and then there's like you craziness. You know.
Right.
where you can pretty much do anything, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, well, that's cool. So how are you going about that? Are you doing a lot of reading?
So
Being out in nature?
being out in nature is probably like it for me.
Yeah.
Well, talking about the Pinchot National Forest, that is like a 25-mile loop that goes around both sides of the street. So I'll usually, like, depending on how busy I am at work, I'll take a backpacking trip and spend like just 3 full days out there.
Okay.
I'll bring my cell phone just to have it as a lifeline, but
sure.
like just disconnect from everything else.
Yeah.
And like getting off a lot of social media has also helped.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's so toxic sometimes. I gotta
so bad.
distance myself from
Even
it.
if it feels like righteous and like, you know, it's almost like sometimes I feel like I have some sort of responsibility to get the message out, but that's too much.
Yeah, like I can't be that person all the time.
No, wear you out. Yeah, it's definitely. So that's great. So you go on these long packing trips. Do you have an interest in science that fuels some of that, like birding, or you know, interested in trees or mycology, or you know, mushrooms and stuff, or space constellations?
Not really.
Not really?
If anything, like I go to school part-time as well. Then I'm going for like computer science.
Oh,
That's
okay.
probably the only science I'm interested in.
Okay. And what are you going to do with that?
I'm aiming for a programming career.
Okay.
As much as my job has afforded me a lot of opportunities, it's really hard on the body.
Yeah. Are you thinking about doing that remotely as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's kind of like my end game with it.
Do you have good internet access here?
I do actually.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes. Like,
That's the stark difference between here and Alaska.
yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's great. I guess it's because it is a resort, somewhat of a resort area.
Yeah, I mean, there is only one internet provider.
Okay.
But
it's good.
it's good.
Oh,
yeah,
excellent.
like I don't do like a lot. I just like watch TV on my computer, but
Yeah.
it gives me all the access I need.
So what do you want to do? Do you want to develop apps?
I want to eventually get into cybersecurity.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What?
So like
From butcher to cybersecurity? What?
I've always had like a huge interest in computers.
All right.
And pretty much like if you have like a website or that is developed,
Yeah.
you spend $10,000 to develop this website, it's going to take $20,000 to develop security for it.
Oh, wow. I don't even know that.
Yeah, like
I've heard that some people's websites get kind of hijacked for money.
Yes.
That's the extent that I know.
it's so like ransomware is what that is. They'll say, I'm taking your website and I'm going to give it back to you, but got to give me $200 to
Right.
release it. And people do it because they don't have the resources to not get past it.
Do they even know who these people are?
No, because it could be someone in halfway across the world. A lot of the times it is not even in this country.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So are you in a program specifically for that?
Yes.
Or, okay.
I go to the Johnson College in Scranton.
Okay.
It's I haven't been in a
Is that like a technical school?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
and that's
I notice here in the East, there's some really fabulous technical schools.
Yeah.
That are really kind of up to date.
it's cool
Yeah.
because it's completely hands-on. So I was kind of dreading the idea of going into a classroom, but it's been the exact opposite experience.
That's great.
Just like learning code and
Lots of projects.
Yes, developing apps, and which is just super cool.
Yeah.
I use like brute strength a lot, but it feels good to use my brain every once in a while.
Sure. Maybe you're a little bit more caveman style or something like that. That's cool. You know, that's how I do it too. I used to develop and maintain research databases and, you know, like gleaning data from dissertations and public records and, you know, that sort of thing, and trying to get it into usable form for other people. But I totally did it caveman style, which is fine. A lot of that data just, you know, it's just hard doing those transfers of different kinds of data. And whatever, you know. And I'm not that skilled, but, you know, I worked at it. Wow. It sounds like you're really doing some good things.
Yeah, just
Like personally, and then kind of big picture, like work and your home here.
if I would have like saw myself 10 years ago, they would have never thought I would be here. Definitely had some very low moments. So I'm glad I came up on top.
Yeah. Is it almost like you didn't think you were going to make it?
No, definitely not. I mean, a part of putting myself in dangerous situations, getting over like an alcohol addiction. So
it's like the well-traveled road for queers.
yeah, it's way too easy to fall onto bad habits.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's great. You didn't have to get over like smoking or anything like that?
No, I was actually never really into cigarettes.
Excellent.
I call myself a social smoker. I only smoke when I drink.
Okay.
And I would,
because that was very much part of Butch Femme when I was younger. Smoking. It's like so weird.
Yeah, like I guess it was more vaping. People in there, which is
Different generation.
Yeah, totally different.
Yeah.
But I would just bum cigarettes off people if I was like drinking, because for some reason having a cigarette and like my go-to is like Jack and Coke is just right, like awful, just awful.
So sweet.
Yes.
I occasionally want a cocktail, but then I'm like, I get one and I'm like, how do people drink this? It's so sweet.
Right.
Ugh. It's almost like I want a salty cocktail. I don't know what that would even be. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe one of those Indian drinks, like a lassi. You know those? It's kind of like buttermilk, like very fizzy buttermilk, but maybe put a little dash of something. I don't know. I don't know.
Interesting.
I'm making things up here. I'm making things up, and that's probably like against religions. But anyway, yeah, what else can we talk about? So we talked about Oz. Is there any other like local or regional issues that are coming up, let's say around transness, around trans people?
The only thing that I've seen was like the Protect Girls.
Yeah.
But I don't see anything around here talking about denying services to children.
Like other I say countries, states.
Yeah, it feels like another country.
Yeah, it does.
Sometimes.
It really does. Yeah.
Thankfully, I haven't seen anything like that around
Okay,
here.
yeah.
I guess the biggest topic I've seen lately is like the abortion thing. Jim Bognet, I think he's running for senator or Senate, something like that.
Like state senate?
Yes.
Okay.
And one of his platforms was to abolish abortion completely, regardless of...
Oh, yeah, they're getting bold.
Real bold.
Yeah, and the anti-Semitism that, like there's always anti-Semitism, but it's been public and so blatant and just broadcast out there. It's really shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the saving grace of Pennsylvania is Philadelphia, Allentown, and Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Because they're all aggressively liberal.
Okay.
So it turns the state blue.
Yeah.
So I'm like grateful for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it seems like Pennsylvania is always one of those states that's kind of on the edge. Is it going to be red this time? Is it going to be blue? What's going to happen here?
It is a strange state because you have Philadelphia, which is, I love Philly. It's huge and open, and I can really feel myself there.
Yeah.
But then
so much art too.
Yes,
such an incredible art community.
Completely. But then you travel out to Bucks County, which is maybe like an hour north, and it's like you're in a different world completely.
Yeah. And then there's the Amish.
Yes. Oh, how can you forget the Amish? Yeah, they're in a class of their own.
Yeah. I'm actually for some reason I'm fascinated by them, and I was so happy to drive down that highway where they live off of. There's a highway here where it's not like they actually keep it so that they can keep their buggies on it, and then it kind of ends, and then it becomes a regular highway at a certain point. And I thought that was actually pretty cool that whatever state agencies, DOT, I don't know, were keeping it that way and respecting them, that's how they get around. I actually really love that.
What I like about the Amish is the farmers markets they have around their communities. I love it.
Yeah. Actually, the best chicken I ever had was up in Minnesota, and it was an old grocery store, and they source a lot of stuff from the Amish, and it was just like, oh my God, I didn't know this could taste like that. Right. Yeah. I was just astounded. Yeah, but after I leave here, I'm going to Harrisburg, and then guess what? I'm going to go towards Philly.
Nice.
I'm going to take the scenic route. Stare at some Amish people.
Do it.
I'm not going to take pictures, though. I'm not like that. But I'm going to definitely stare at them. discreetly. Anyway, yeah, I think that's probably a good place. Yeah. I've really enjoyed our talk here. It's so great to come out here and to see your home. Yeah, and I here I can feel like it's home for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
I can see how you're gonna really enjoy living here, and your dogs too. You know, being out here in the woods and stuff. The Pomeranian is once again making her voice known.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean this place is great. The neighborhood you're in it seems pretty cool. People are friendly, conservative but friendly.
Yeah,
great. You have a good career, but you're changing careers to something that you could do maybe when you're older.
Yes.
And less able to do the physical stuff. Yeah, and you're working on your relationships and your needs around that. Yeah, that's great. I'm so impressed. I mean, you're doing so much work. I mean, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, like I'm home now, but I feel like I'm just never home. Like I'm either I work a lot.
Oh,
I work
like the commute and stuff.
Yeah, I work 6 days a week. I'm only off on Wednesdays. And when I'm home on Wednesdays, I have class in the morning. So I'm like doing a lot of running around.
But this is just a phase to get you to where you want to be.
Yes, so I'm willing to put the work into just because I've been complacent. Especially with my job, I thought this is good enough for now. I just don't want to throw my back out one day and then that'll be it.
No, that is it too. Once you get those kind of injuries, they just stay with you. Yeah. Trust me, that's been my experience. Yeah. So you youngsters out there who are doing labor jobs, that's your first priority is to keep yourself healthy.
Yes.
Yeah. A job isn't worth it.
No, never.
No. Yeah, so thank you for having me in your home.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I can see how you're going to have some fun here this winter. This is going to be cozy and nice. Yeah.
Got my heat tape on, my water pipes. I'm all ready to go.
What's that about?
So like there's a crawl space underneath the house and you kind of plug the tape in.
Oh, I see.
And you set it to whatever temperature, you wrap it around the pipes and it turns on when it gets too cold.
Yeah. We had a house in Kotzebue, Alaska that I'm not sure where the water was piped in from because there was an airport there. We actually had a fairly nice and big airport because it's a regional hub. We did have a municipal water supply, which is really astounding in northern Alaska, actually in most parts of Alaska. So we did have pipes in our house, and they were on the inside. They weren't in the walls. They were on the inside. So they were insulated and whatever, but on the inside of the house. And actually, there were some places where there was less insulation, and I had a little radio, and I would put the radio up against it to use it as an antenna.
Huh.
Yeah. And actually, I could hear other languages and stuff.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know what I was listening to, but I was like so fascinated by that. But underneath the house, there was a spot where the insulation wasn't good and the pipe was outside and it would freeze. My dad had to go up underneath there with my mom's hair dryer. Yeah, he's like upside down going trying to Oh my goodness.
Not fun.
Not fun. So I'm glad you have that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That would suck so bad.
Yeah, well, my neighbor actually told me about it, and I was like, right on. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Get all those tips. Get all those tips from the old timers.
Yep.
And since they're chatty, they'll tell you.
They will. They will.
Wow. Do you guys ever do stuff like? I could see you guys maybe doing like shopping for each other kind of thing. You know what I mean?
So I work at a ShopRite. I work in the one in Mount Pocono. And there's also one in Daleville that's owned by the same people. So I work in that one too. Yeah. And I actually ran into my neighbors across the street just working there one day.
Yeah.
But generally, if it's meat, I'll help anyone with anything.
Oh.
Just because meat's expensive as hell.
Oh, yes.
So I try to give them like a good price on the sly.
Yeah. And even if there's like property owners, a lot of older people, like if they're on a fixed income,
Yes.
they aren't doing well.
No,
They might have some assets, like physical assets, but their day to day is like pretty slim.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad
Yeah,
seeing.
and they keep it to themselves too.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I see a lot of those people like every day.
Yeah.
And things are just so expensive, and it's
Yeah.
really unfair to most people.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people are keeping it to themselves too, which is a pride thing, but it's understandable. So
Yeah.
that's good that you are kind of anticipating that a little bit. You know?
Yes, I just have a soft spot for like older ladies, especially.
Yeah.
So like
Oh,
Yeah.
you're such a sweetheart.
I will like I'll do. I mean, is it stealing? Probably, but
No.
who cares?
No. I mean, if it's at cost too, there's no loss.
Yes, that's pretty much what my
If it's scraps.
Yes. I'll give anyone, like, especially like what they call the retail price.
Yeah.
So just take it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was once at a fancy place in Marin County, which is one of the most expensive or whatever well-to-do counties in the U.S. It's just north of San Francisco. And I went to a grocery store and I was like, I mean, of course they could tell I was poor, right? And I was just getting some hamburger. But the lady in front of me got some Chateaubriand. But she had it cut, and the guy was like, "Oh, it's cut."
Right.
And then he was like, "Okay, I'm going to give this to you at the hamburger price. What do you think?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Right on.
best piece of meat I ever eaten. I've ever eaten. Eaten. I think it's about time to stop." Yeah, I cooked that up, and I was like, now I know why the rich people get this,
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Although I must say, nothing beats moose, though. If you've never had moose,
Interesting.
it's the beefiest beef. Actually, whale is the beefiest beef, but I haven't never eaten whale. That's what I've heard, though. But moose is really good. If you ever get your hands on some moose,
I gotta try it.
Yeah, I mean, you're a vegetarian, but who knows? You might enjoy it. Anyway, enough of that. All right, we have to say goodbye. Aw, bummer.
This is cool.
Yeah, I love it. I love traveling around and meeting people. We're all so cool. I mean, I've met a couple of people that I didn't appreciate. I mean, yeah. Well, they made it so I couldn't appreciate them, unfortunately. But for the most part, I've been just meeting such nice, great, and cool people, doing so much, doing activism, doing their own work like you're doing. It's really. I mean, I hope this isn't cheesy, but it's kind of inspirational. Like all the stuff that we're all doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all facing our own battles.
Yeah. Survival, but then also like thriving,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's cool. Anyway, thank you so much.
Of course. This is
Yes.
a pleasure.
I'm gonna be sad leaving here. And thank you for being sweet to my dog, who needs to probably go out. All right. See you next time, folks. See? Yeah. And he kept giving me this raggedy ball here, which is amazing that you still have.
It's holding on.
You're thrifty. You're very thrifty. Look at this guy. This is a horror. This is a Halloween ball. All right, y'all. Cut. See y'all later.
Nice.
All right.